Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 31 Media podcast. My name is Vaishnavi Nashte. I'm the marketing and PR manager here at 31 Media. Today's podcast is in collaboration with the AI Awards and the Digital Transformation Awards. The judges have started accepting entries for both of these awards. So if you want to know more about the entry guidelines, please follow the link in the description. Today, we have on our podcast Priyanka Ravichander. She's the Chief Marketing Officer and Head of B2B to X at Technotree. She's also responsible for the global go-to-market strategy for Technotree's portfolio. So welcome to the 31 Media Podcast, Priyanka. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you? Thanks for having me.
All good, all good. No, thank you for joining. Where are you joining us from?
I'm in Dubai right now.
Oh, wow. What's the temperature like? Must be hot.
It's like Bangalore. It's like Bangalore weather,
Ah,
which is right now. Yeah, the weather's
which
very
is kind
nice.
of
And
yeah, I'm so jealous. Like it's kind of cold in the UK, cold and chilly.
okay, this is like
Um,
our fun summer. So we spend a lot of time
oh,
outside. And
yeah.
yeah.
Dubai is beautiful. Yeah, I've been there. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, so actually I'm joining you from the fastest internet connection in the world, which
Really?
you can experience in Dubai. I think they have the fastest network with Do Telecom, in fact. So we get, it's a pleasure, to definitely work in a city that's fast-paced, always looking for, the edge of what is possible. Yeah.
Yeah, no technical issues there. But before we actually dive into the questions, obviously, like all of my questions are very AI focused for this podcast. But before we actually
Sure.
dive into that, would you mind telling our audience a bit more about yourself and a bit more about your background?
Sure. My background is actually in the legal profession. I
Mm,
started off in learning about like technology licensing, regulations, capital markets, ethics, jurisprudence. So these are the subjects that I, sort of started out with,
yeah.
focused, of course, in the TMT sector, right, which is telecommunications media. This is great as a background because even though I've moved away from that, I think it kind of helps me come with an angle of embedding trust, throughout uh, these digital action interactions that we're trying to orchestrate, right, for our customers. Um, I later, moved on to uh, working on geostatistical econometric analysis,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically trying to understand what could be the data-driven strategies for monetization of, uh, assets of the government, data of the government, building cities like smart cities of the future through
Yeah.
specifically through data strategies. And geospatial information, that you get from satellites. So that's what I did my master's in. It was a master of science. So I moved away from law. But when I and then I have a background of working for the government of India in investment promotions, where I used a lot of my skills to bring together the right kinds of promotion policies, supply chain agreements, segmenting the market, skills, taxation, to
Mm-hmm.
generate business and electronics manufacturing,
Yeah.
communications, as well as ICT. Um,
Working with the
so
government
this
is
is my background.
definitely very cool.
Sorry?
And working with the government is definitely very cool.
It depends on which government. I worked for the
Ah,
Indian government, and I worked at the right time, 2015 to 2020, right? So a lot happened, right? When you become the from nothing, when you become the number one phone manufacturing company in the
mm,
world, when you're like structuring, the next wave of, let's say, energy security. So now energy security has been achieved by the Indian government, which paves the way for data security, sovereign data, AI, and so many more possibilities, right? So it depends on which governments. But yes, I had a very
yeah,
good experience. Yeah.
beautiful. Um, okay, cool. So like now let's dive into the AI related questions. So my first
Yeah,
question to
a little
you
bit about
is,
Technotree.
yeah,
Just sorry, a little bit about Technotree because since this is about Technotree's role in the AI value chain. Of course,
yeah.
there are many players in the ecosystem, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Technotree is a global telecommunications company that services close to 95 telecom operators around the world that are connected to 1.3 odd billion subscribers that use and touch our platform in different ways. Our primary markets are Europe, the Middle East, Africa, as well as Latin America. And
Mm-hmm.
we're, of course, expanding into North America as well and APAC.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
the unique thing about the company, since we're talking about AI, is that this 1.5 billion subscribers that are managed on our platform are actually supported by only 1,000 people in the company. So uh, automation for us is like survival, in terms of uh, reducing the complexities, increasing efficiencies, and
Yeah.
gearing up for the next wave of monetization.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely explore that as a part of the question. Automation is definitely so important, even when it comes to AI, isn't it? So, my first question to you is, how do you think AI agents today are upending traditional roles across industries? And in your experience, which sectors are feeling the most pressure to adapt?
I think the telecom sector is
Yeah.
like the number one user for AI, and I'll tell you why. Because uh, to know a little bit about that, you need to understand a little bit about 5G as well. Okay, so 5G is not just about faster internet connection. No,
Hmm.
5G is about real-time intervention remotely. It brings those two things together. It is a real-time service, right? It's not a tech upgrade. It is actually a continuous service delivery methodology or framework, similar
Hmm.
to AI, which is also a real-time system. Now with Gen AI, you are actually moving into more real-time events. Sorry, I think I have to mute I mean, the do not disturb
Teams.
on my Teams. Yeah, no, but it is on and it's still, I don't know, sorry. Anyway,
That's fine.
so 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 yeah, I was just saying that it's more about real-time interactions where uh and 5G marries so well with that. The next thing
Mhm.
that marries so well with that is actually having the data, right? And the combination of a proper data management, governance, real-time, 5G service orchestration, right? And uh, the possibilities that you have with, agentic platforms, right, as a service can really enable like almost in a foolproof, data as a service monetization strategy for an operator. And when you triangulate this and when you create this trinity, you'll actually see that, operators, have like operators are the new sheikhs in town. They have data, which is the new oil. And all they need to do is bring it together, mine it, follow process and governance and understand what is the outcomes
Hmm.
to monetize. Yeah.
Hmm. Right, amazing. So thank you for sharing that. And obviously, like as and how technology is getting smarter, obviously the AI agents will get smarter on a daily basis, right? So which human skills do you think will still hold their ground today? And how do you think we or anybody else in any business or organizations they continue to, stay relevant in the business?
Okay, so first, they say that like by 2030 85% of the jobs that haven't even been thought of yet today.
Will be
85%
replaced.
of jobs that will exist in 2030 have not even been conceived of today. So I think that there is, opportunity to transform,
Hmm.
for sure. But you need to have the building blocks, and some are going to transform much, much faster than others because they have access, to the building blocks. So when you talk about maturity, right, of an organization, this is where, it really matters. where you sit in the value
Mhm.
chain,
Yeah.
right? So, of course, you have, AI agents, right? They help you configure interactions with, your customers in real time. They can analyze data, make decisions, perform tasks for you, right? These are things that the AI agents will bring to the table. Then you have multimodal AI. Right? That means access to AI from different types of formats, different types of channels, triangulation of that data to drive better insights, right, for across the value chain. So multimodal AI is definitely going multimodal AI and multi-tenancy of those agents, right? So you have the macro agents and the micro agents working together.
Right.
So I'll give you an example of that. You'll have a macro agent, that is sort of on the enterprise side, right? Which allows your sales human agent, right,
Mm.
to basically have the efficiency of 10 more sales agents by hyper personalizing the conversations across customers, and setting rules, for different types of customer segments.
Yeah.
uh, you know, so whether it's for loyalty, whether it's for customer support, whether it is for payment, right? You could have many micro agents that can kind of work together in a multi-tenanted, multimodal framework. Are we there yet? I think this is in POC phase, and scaling this, selecting the types of models. This is where we are, today in that kind of maturity, right? Moving away from POC into actual production, monetization, and efficiency outcomes.
Yeah.
Um, and here you have, and especially for operators, you have the RAG, right, which is the retrieval augmented generation, and its ability to surface the uh, data, access specific data in real time, analyze that, and then provide the results. So it's like your customer agent is actually embedded with an NBO model, right? Based on your data, based on your goals,
Hmm.
based on your specific use cases, right? As a CSP or a customer. So RAG helps you manage the robustness of your model. You need to have a very strong RAG framework, to be able to really drive outcomes. They say, 97% of the success of all AI projects is all about the data, right? Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
We've heard that a lot. So sometimes the RAG helps keep the data fresh. It helps create that competitiveness in your data strategy by always being effective in real time. And then, of course, you have, the prompt engineering itself, where you're able to um, surface the insights for your executives and employees in real time. So you asked a question, right? What can humans do better than AI? Some things AI can actually do better, right? And some things humans can do better. It's all about making sure that whether it's a sales, a marketing, an event inventory, executive within your enterprise, they have that information in real time at the right time to then make a decision as
Yeah.
the human in the loop, right? So
Absolutely.
so making sure that that is facilitated and transparent, right, across the digital experience for enterprises and consumers.
Right. And do you mind also like sharing some light on how people in the organizations can actually continue to stay relevant? Because obviously you've mentioned like so many different areas within the business that will continuously evolve, isn't it? So how would you, in your opinion, what is it that we must do in order to stay relevant?
Um, I think it's about creating the culture of innovation, within an
Mm.
organization. So, uh, accepting the transformation, being able to understand how you can collaborate better. So I think there was a statistic that showed that, using AI can actually
Mm.
generate efficiency across close to 50% of complex workflows, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
a production line, a sales and inventory, process,
Mm.
which means that your enterprises will actually have more time, can do more in less time. you know
Right.
so how are you going to enable that? How are those those employees going to use that to align themselves to the company growth and targets, negotiate maybe better terms, between themselves or their employers, or, even between organizations, like, agents representing two organizations in a B2B transaction when you're trying to,
Yeah.
upsell or cross sell, or even when you're selling, to
Yeah.
consumers, right? Mobility
Absolutely.
business. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Education, even within the company, is just as important, isn't it? Because AI integration, like obviously it's taking place across all of the departments now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think creating access to the material, access to training,
Mm-hmm.
democratizing the AI and having the ability to, it's not just about, well, okay, so if it were sort of a strategic framework, you would say first you need to define your goals and outcomes, right? That alignment has to be there across your stakeholders. It does include cross-functional stakeholder management. It cannot just be the CIO's role to define the ML segmentation model for a marketing team, right? Marketing team has to own own the goals just as much as any other part. So there must be more. Same with HR and finance, and you're going to find that it enables you to collaborate at least to an efficiency of about 30% more between
Mm-hmm.
business units and teams, right?
Yeah.
It's about finding these gates, not silos,
Yeah.
to help grow the organization better, negotiate better terms,
Yeah.
and understand where the next segments are for you to monetize.
Right. Right. Great. So now we've covered like certain positive aspects, obviously, with AI. I want to learn more about, do you see any ethical red flags as companies are currently diving more into AI integration?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, there is a framework for ethical AI, right? It has six paradigms.
Yeah.
It talks about compliance, it talks about risk, it talks about efficacy of the models, bias, fairness, and of course, explainability, transparency,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
at Technotree, we have actually created a trust as a service platform, which allows you to actually configure your policy, check, for different kinds of violations. It could be a country level, a region level, an industry level, maybe like specific to healthcare, specific to telecom, or even at an organizational level. Configure
Mhm.
your checks, and allow for those models to be evaluated in a governance framework, right? As a process, as a repeatable process at scale. So I think it can definitely be protected, but the dangers, I would say, if you're asking specifically for that and what to be aware of, there is misrepresentation of content. You can generate content, you can hallucinate content. People
A
use
lot of
that and misuse
manipulation.
that.
Yeah.
And sorry.
A lot of manipulation of information happening out there, isn't it?
Absolutely. And in the context of like, advertising, it can actually
Yeah.
hurt someone, right? So it's buyer beware, right? A
Absolutely.
buyer is making decisions based on the information provided. How can
Yeah.
the buyer be aware? So what is the duty of care, that organizations using AI have to implement? The problem is that the standards are weak, in this particular area. If I were to look at it globally, some regions are much faster, more progressive than others. Like you can see the EU AI Act has
Mm-hmm.
just come out, right, into implementation. You can see countries like the UAE adopting, strict governance rules. Of course, the United States leading the way in some of these areas, right? So it's important to definitely check the standards that apply to certain areas,
Yeah.
and see how your organization can help with this. And the reason for this is because if you have a churn prediction model, right? Every CRM platform today comes with a embedded AI churn prediction model, right? How many CRM platforms are there, right? So the idea is that when you're using AI, it's actually starting to represent your brand.
Yeah.
So the concept of trust, right, has to be embedded. in the design of some of these AI platforms and tools. And that's something that we take very seriously in Technotree. And when we deploy, we definitely have a framework and a platform that's able to perform this. Yeah.
Nice, amazing. So thank you for sharing that. My next question to you is more around obviously the integration of AI across departments, but are AI agents reshaping teamworks across departments? Like, do you think they are? And in your opinion, are they actually helping with productivity or, unintentionally building silos, as you mentioned before?
Um, yes, I think we are definitely seeing, you know, time saving efficiencies, revenue
Yeah.
saving efficiencies, cost saving, and operational efficiencies across departments, both for our customers and internal to Technotree as a
Mm,
corporation, implementing AI strategies. The challenge is that there are certain horizontal building blocks that you need to keep in place, like for example your data management platform, your trust and governance platform, your AI agentic framework, right? These are platforms that you want to keep at a horizontal level, but allow for, depending on the maturity of your department and their ability to maybe fine tune,
hmm
to select, to prompt engineer, depending on their maturity, right? You would
Right.
kind of release capabilities to
hmm
that, and then you need to quickly identify, as a part of your change management process, what are the gaps for upskilling and making sure that that is available. So the organization can then pivot and transform along with their
Yeah.
employees. Yeah.
Amazing. Great. So my final question to you, and a lot of people might already have this in their head, but according to you, what are like certain novel benefits that AI agents are currently bringing to the table that humans on their own they struggle to match? And where do you think humans are going to be truly irreplaceable?
Okay, so I'll try to answer it in the order that you asked. I think you asked three questions. Um, so in terms of efficiency, it's all about scale. So we're right now moving from, POC to scalability, scalable AI to hopefully everyday AI, right? Where it's embedded on almost everything that we do. So uh, we're seeing close to like a 70% efficiency, in ROI, either because it's affecting the bottom line in terms of time, right, and
Mm,
material, or it's affecting the top line because it's found, the next segment, the next bundle, the next channel, and it's all right. The right offer, right place, right time, right content. And we're moving from personalization to hyper personalization in real time. So
yeah.
that definitely brings a lot of business benefits first,
Mm,
more than just a technical upgrade, right? So that's where we're seeing a lot of convergence between the business and technology, an area of improvement. I think and your last question was, where are humans irreplaceable? So this is
yes.
interesting. I was reading about this, and this is like a very, very recent study that was done where they tried to, it's called the Turing test for AI and art. They took 11,000 people, they shared images. Some of them were AI images, art, generated by AI, and then, normal paintings that were done by actual humans. So they were asked two
Right.
questions, the group, what do you prefer? Which image do you prefer? Okay. And also they were asked, can you tell whether this is AI or human?
hmm
So, uh, actually, what was funny was 60% of that group actually preferred AI images over human images because, uh, there's some limitations to human skills, in terms of expression, right? But the AI was able to actually evoke the same kinds of emotions through maybe higher levels of accuracy in some areas, that humans had. So that's definitely interesting that even in the context of certain things that you would think a human could not be replaced, humans prefer AI art, to human art.
Yeah.
And then I think, you know, uh, the other question was, are you able to tell the difference between AI and human? And I think, that was like, 70, I mean, that was more realistic, where like 40 to 30%, were able to, not recognize that those images were generated by AI, but most of them could pick that, okay, this is definitely not by a human, this is definitely by an AI, because there are it's not perfect yet. The computer vision models are not absolutely accurate. There are errors, especially when you look at portraits and faces,
Yeah.
facial expressions. You
Yeah.
can see that. You can tell whether images are generated by AI or a human
Absolutely.
in most cases. One
Yeah.
thing I want to say is that I mentioned earlier, there is a way of enabling, I mean, I'm going to say something a bit controversial, okay? There is, instead of like, Technotree never had that model, of we're a product company. We don't do services at scale. We partner with, our SIs, which are global, such as Accenture, HCL, Cognizant. We work with them to scale our operations, right? Accenture themselves are seeing a 70% ROI increase on implementing AI strategies across their customers. So
Mm.
those are the types of numbers that really motivate us. And just because we implement AI, it doesn't mean that you're going to see like a lot of firing, that happens, because we're a very lean product company. What we see it do is to enhance, one to 11, 1 plus 1 is 11. We're actually seeing that kind of math, for our at least our own, POCs implementations, both for customers as well as our internal use. So that is kind of, where I would draw the line, in terms of how AI can definitely enhance, and be
Yeah.
the gate, right?
Yeah.
And in terms of silo, I think the trust and governance is really where the silos are being created, and definitely where there are going to be frameworks and ways in which we overcome that very soon,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Priyanka. That was very insightful. And I've had a really nice time having this podcast with you. All of your answers
Likewise.
have been
Thank you.
very educational and very informative. So thank you so much again for taking the time out and being on the podcast. And we are right in time. I have like literally 3 minutes remaining for this meeting. But thank you again. And also for those watching, Priyanka has written a very great article, which is again on AI itself, which will be published on our platform. So make sure to give that a read. The link will be in the description as well. So that's it from my end. And thank you again, Priyanka.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.